Hi there, my name is Brayden Welffer, and today I'm going to be discussing with you the history, development, application, benefits, limitations, and physics of airbags. First up, I'm going to give you a brief history of airbags. Airbags, or supplementary restraint systems / supplementary inflatable restraints, are gas-inflated passive restraint balloon cushions designed as a safety precaution for passengers and the driver in the case of a crash involving motor vehicles. They attempt to control the sudden halt of car impact and fight the laws of physics, momentum, and most especially the laws of motion developed by Isaac Newton. The first official patent applications of airbags were in cars published by John Hendrick initially in 1951. Furthermore, Alan Breed was the first to test his sensor and safety system in 1968, it being the world's first electromagnetic automotive airbag system. Although early 1950s airbags did exist, they weren't instigated by manufacturers until the early 1970s. Next up, development. The airbag development begins in 1951 with John Hendrick. Hendrick's initial design involved compressed air which powers a torpedo with an inflatable canvas cover included in the design. Although Hendrick's technology wouldn't be employed for almost 2 decades, in the early 1970s, Mr. Alan Breed established a ball and tube mechanism which would further improve Hendrick's original design. The ball and tube mechanism consists of a small tube and a circuit switch and a ball held on by a small magnet. If the magnet is disengaged from the ball due to a large impact, i.e. a crash, the ball rolls through the tube which hits the switch and completes the circuit, activating the airbags. This system allows the airbag to be deployed and inflated within 30 milliseconds upon impact. Furthermore, the federal government of America mandates the installation of frontal airbags in all cars since 1998. Nowadays, electronic accelerometers measure the acceleration in the car and deploy the airbags accordingly. Up now, application. Airbags are typically idle in cars in the front dashboard and inside the steering wheel of the car. Alongside this, they can be positioned in the seatbelts, side doors, under interior housing in the car, and behind the car seats. They sit in the car until acted upon by the triggering mechanism. The essential aspect that kicks the airbag into action is the crash sensor and the reactive chemicals that are triggered by the sensor mechanism. These are usually made of sodium azide, NaN3, used as a chemical propellant and initiator devices that maintain properties that can ignite in an instant and essentially make the explosion happen quickly. Once the signal is sent, the sodium azide ignites and decomposes into inert gas such as nitrogen to fill the bag extremely quickly within about 40 milliseconds. Now I'm going to talk about some benefits. In crashes affecting the front of cars, airbags located at the front of the car can reduce driver fatalities by 29% and fatalities of passengers by 30% for ages 13 and older. Alongside a fitted seatbelt, the risk of death is reduced by 51%. A quote from the NHTSA states, an estimate of 39,886 lives have been saved by frontal airbags. Next on the list, some limitations. One limitation associated with the airbag use could be the manner in which the frontal airbags can cause damage to children, elderly, and infant passengers' heads. This is caused by the force of an airbag blowing up, causing damage to the undeveloped skulls or weakened skulls. Some of the earlier stage airbags caused injuries such as these, as the force required at the time was greater than it is today. By 2014, 80% of the light vehicle class cars were equipped with driver airbags, but only 55 of them were equipped with passenger airbags. In a survey conducted by Monash University Accident Research Center, tests were conducted on cars with and without airbags. The airbag test results reduced severity of injury by 75% for facial injuries, by 51% for neck injuries, and 70% for chest injuries. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says that the frontal airbags saved the life of 2,213 people in 2012 alone. Now here's a little physics lesson for you. The safety devices in cars are essentially designed to fight Isaac Newton's first and second laws of physics. The first law states that an object in motion will remain in motion until acted upon by another force. From a car crash point of view, this means that the objects that are in motion moving remain moving until stopped by a force a car crash. In a car, the driver passengers are accelerating along. Say that they are to hit something that causes them to abruptly stop, for example a tree. The passengers will be thrown forward, or rather continue moving at the same acceleration that they have not been stopped by a force with. This is called inertia, and this is what car safety systems are consistently fighting in crashes. In this case, the passengers will hit the windshield as the car has stopped moving, but the passengers still have their inertia. If one was to restrain the passengers to the car and add a cushion mechanism, the passengers would most definitely experience a much more survivable crash. This translates to wearing a seatbelt and having the working airbags installed in the event of a crash. F equals ma is Newton's second law of motion, and it refers to force, mass, and acceleration. All mass and acceleration that are involved create a greater force that is exerted in the crash for this example. Because the mass and acceleration would typically stay the same during a car crash situation, the variable that airbags work with is the time and force. This being the time it takes for one's head to hit an object in front of them while they're moving in the car, and the force at which it hits something. An airbag provides a force over time. The more time the force has to act on the passenger to slow them down, the less damage caused to the passenger. In addition to this, the airbag provides a larger surface area for the force to be spread out upon.